Here's my finished section 2 with the fading marl in the seed stitch, and we're going to build off of those same stitches for section 3 using brioche. There's also a seed stitch option if you prefer to do seed stitch instead of brioche, but I love this brioche texture, especially with fluffy mohair. So continue using 2 new yarns, working off of section 2. For the brioche version, you'll work rows 1 and 2, and here's row 3. Knit 1, brioche knit. Slip 1 with a yarn over, brioche knit. Slip 1 with a yarn over, brioche knit. Slip, knit, slip with that yarn over, and brioche knit. For English style knitting, if you're holding the yarn in your right hand, you need to bring the yarn forward to slip, and then just dive in to knit the next stitch. Yarn forward to slip, and you'll get that yarn over as you knit. Slip 1 with the yarn over, yarn forward to slip, knit that next stitch together with its previous yarn over shawl. So every other stitch should have this little yarn over shawl right there on the stitch. Knit, slip with the yarn over, knit, there's the yarn over. Here's the end of row 3, and you're going to work to the last 4 stitches. So I need to brioche knit and slip 1 with the yarn over. Here's my last 4. We're going to do a brioche right slanting decrease. Slip 1 knitwise, knit the next stitch, pass the slip stitch over, both strands of that stitch go over, swim to the left needle, and this is a big shark. Both strands of this shark are gonna eat that stitch, and it's super content, so it swims to the right needle. Slip last stitch with yarn in front. Super pretty right leaning decrease. Here's the same ending to row 3 for English style knitters. You want to work to the last 4 stitches. So brioche knit, slip 1 with a yarn over. And now here's the last 4 stitches, the yarn's in front. Slip 1 knitwise, wrap the yarn around to knit the next stitch. Pass the slip stitch over, swim to the left needle, and this is the big shark. Both strands of the shark eat that stitch. Place it on the right needle, slip last stitch with yarn in front. Turn to work the wrong side row. For the wrong side rows, you'll knit the first stitch, and then slip 1 with the yarn over, and then brioche knit, slip 1 yarn over, brioche knit, slip 1 with the yarn over, all the way to the end. Here I'm repeating rows 3 through 6, and I'm reaching the end of a wrong side row. Brioche knit, slip 1 with the yarn over. But there's that last stitch, but do the full yarn over to the slip stitch, and then slip that last stitch with yarn in front. Turn to work the right side row. Here's my complete section 3, the brioche option, and I held 1 strand of mohair throughout the whole section and striped from light to dark, my second wool strand. Here I'm ready to pick up section 4, starting at that selvage stitch by the mesh, going all the way along the 60 edge stitches of section 2. So get 2 new strands of yarn. Here's a mohair and a wool held together, but use any 2 strands of yarn held together. And I have all my stitches, 40 stitches from my mesh lace on the needle. So I'm just going to knit into each selvage stitch. Do that 3 times. Dive in to knit 3 stitches, and then make 1 using a backwards loop cast on. Continue to pick up and knit 3. 1, 2, 3 selvage stitches. I'm going through both legs of that stitch. Make 1. You'll continue to pick up and knit 3, make 1, all the way across section 2, selvage. So you'll be going into all 60 stitches, pick up and knit 3, make 1, and you should end up with 80 total stitches. Here's that backwards loop cast on if you hold the yarn in your right hand. Just twist that yarn in half and pop it on the needle. Pull it tight. And just make sure that you see that little cross. That it's not a yarn over, but it's this little twist, backwards loop cast on. Nice and snug. Pick up and knit 3. and make one. Twist the yarn in half, pop it on the right needle, nice and snug. Here's the section 2 edge that you're picking up and knitting all the way across. And here, this is the last stitch you'll pick up and knit into, right before that section 3. I got my 80 stitches from the section 2 edge, and now I turn to work the wrong side row, where I knit 79 stitches, and you'll reach your last 80th stitch, and you're going to slip, slip, knit it together with the next mesh stitch. So slip one knitwise. This is a section 1 stitch that you're slipping knitwise as well, and then knit those two together through the back loop. Again, slip the last section 4 stitch knitwise, slip section 1 stitch knitwise, and knit them together through the back loop. Turn around to work the right side row, and make sure that your yarn is in front to begin, and slip the first stitch purlwise, and then pop that yarn in back to continue knitting your right side row. Row 1, right side, I'm knitting to the last 2 stitches. There's my last 2 stitches, just turn around to knit the wrong side. You don't have to wrap or turn or slip anything, just make sure the yarn's in back and continue knitting the wrong side. Here's the end of a wrong side row, knit to last stitch, and make sure that it's the last section 4 stitch. So there's my section 1, the green. I need to knit one more. There's my last gray section 4 stitch, and I'll be knitting those two together. The gray slip knitwise, and there's the green from section 1. Knit those two together through the back loop. So you're always joining one section 4 stitch, it's eating a mesh stitch from section 1. For the row 3, for the right side rows, you'll be knitting to 2 stitches before the last turn. So there's that gap from my previous turn. And I want 2 stitches before that. So I need to knit one more, and here's 2 stitches before the last turn. Turn around to knit the wrong side row. So you're always turning 2 stitches earlier each time. Make sure that yarn's in back to knit row 4, wrong side. Here's my complete garter stitch, section 4, and I used the same mohair throughout and faded my wool from dark to light as my second strand. All the stitches are attached to the mesh, and this is the last right side row. Slip one with yarn in front, pop it to the back, knit one, and then close all the gaps. We're going to pick up this garter bump and knit it together with the next stitch to close the gaps. Knit one more stitch, and here's a new gap. Pick up that garter bump from the bottom together with the next stitch. Knit one, pick up that big bump. There's a little side bump too, but the big bump's easier to slide into, and knit together with the next stitch. And you'll do that all the way across the entire row.